Hello everyone, thank you for watching today's video. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to hit like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss the latest videos. If one day you lose your job and have no savings, with elderly above and children below, the whole family's hope rests on your shoulders. How can you escape the predicament and feed yourself and your family? After losing his job, Meng Yao left the city. His family decided to return to the mountains to start a new life. With his hard-working hands, he built a life of his own. To overcome life's hardships, it's said the greatest enemy in life is procrastination. Many young people on the road of struggle leave everything for tomorrow. Over time, when hair turns white, they still achieve nothing. But unlike others, Meng Yao spent half a year building his new home in the mountains. He also built a cattle pen, raising many native chickens and cows. He also made use of limited time to dig hundreds of roots in the mountains and sell them in the market for money, using the earnings to continue building his home. He also learned to raise pigs. When the pigs grew big, he sold them, earning more income, so he could buy all kinds of feed for livestock. After a period of feeding, the ducks grew fat and were taken to the market for sale, thus gaining more economic benefits. Of course, to eat fresh vegetables without spending money, he simply grew them himself. In those difficult days, Meng Yao worked hard, bravely fought on, stayed optimistic and confident, and kept moving forward. Relying on farming and breeding, he finally overcame unemployment and gained enough income. He can then support the family in the city. At this time, Meng Yao, in order to earn more money, he drove a tricycle and came to the watermelon field planted by the farmers. Today, he will pick some watermelons to sell in the market. After all, individual strength is limited. It is impossible to grow every kind of fruit and vegetable by himself. But because Meng Yao has good connections, the farmers agreed to Meng Yao. As long as he can sell as many, he can pick as many. Just give the cost back to the farmers. Now it is the hot summer season. Watermelon, as a fruit loved by many people, is a kind of fruit rich in nutrition and full of water content. Its main nutritional characteristics can be summarized as high water content, able to quickly replenish water, rich in various vitamins, minerals, and beneficial components with relatively low calories, suitable for summer cooling and daily nutrition supplement. However, watermelon's sugar content is relatively high at 6.8. Diabetes patients need to control intake to avoid causing blood sugar fluctuations. Healthy people eating in moderation can better bring out its nutritional effects. Precisely because of this, Meng Yao decided to choose some better quality watermelons to get a better price. The field was full of watermelons, which made Meng Yao extremely happy. But he did not put every watermelon into the basket. In fact, Meng Yao had a good method of selecting watermelons. First, he looked at the stripes of the watermelon. Clear stripes, obvious contrasts of depth, indicate ripeness. Otherwise, it means the watermelon is not very ripe yet. The color should be bright, with deeper dark green parts and lighter light green parts. Overall shiny appearance. Round or oval-shaped watermelons are better. Those grown with uneven nutrient absorption have worse taste, and the watermelon navel should be smaller. The taste is a bit worse, and the watermelon navel should be smaller. It shows that the watermelon rind is relatively thin. Tap the surface of the watermelon with your finger. A ripe watermelon will produce a deep dong-dong sound, low and heavy with elasticity. An unripe watermelon makes a crisp, high-pitched dang-dang sound. An overripe watermelon makes a dull sound. A piu-piu sound may mean the flesh has softened, and the taste is not good. After Meng Yao's careful selection, he finally filled two baskets. Although they looked quite heavy, many people worried whether Meng Yao could lift them. But that worrying was unnecessary for Meng Yao. This really was nothing. Under the scorching sunlight, Meng Yao appeared especially relaxed and natural. Perhaps after more than half a year of rural life, Meng Yao had already gotten used to it, carrying the baskets of watermelons onto the cart, and then placing each watermelon gently into the compartment lined with dry grass to prevent them from being damaged while driving. As each green watermelon was neatly arranged in the cart by Meng Yao, it was still far from filling the whole cart. There was still quite a gap. So it seemed Meng Yao had to continue picking. As the blazing sun shone down, the sun was already high in the sky, and it was getting hotter and hotter. Meng Yao had no choice but to put on his hat, so the sunlight wouldn't tan his pretty face. He continued back to the watermelon field, according to past experience, by looking at the outer color of the watermelon and gently tapping it with his hand. With this skill, Meng Yao could accurately judge which watermelon would be better. After all, the customer is God. If a customer bought a bad watermelon, or one that was not very sweet, it would affect Meng Yao's future sales. Just think about it. If you bought a watermelon that was not sweet at all, you probably wouldn't buy watermelons from Meng Yao again in the future. On this point, Meng Yao really understood the customer's feelings. As a person selling watermelons, not only must he learn sales skills, he must also ensure the quality of the watermelons. Only in this way can he gain stable customers. After all, the market is not very big. The buyers are all people usually seen, or those who live locally. Word of mouth spreads quickly from 1 to 10, from 10 to 100, and it truly has an impact on Meng Yao's reputation. After several rounds of careful selection in the same way, Meng Yao again carried two heavy baskets of watermelons and came to the side of the cart, carefully placing each selected watermelon onto the cart. After a whole morning of picking, Meng Yao was completely exhausted. He couldn't help but take off his hat and used it to fan himself. Even a faint breeze could cool down the sweating Meng Yao a little. It really was a tough job. Money is hard to earn, but for life, he had no choice but to grit his teeth and persevere. To test whether the watermelons he picked were really sweet or not, he first cut one open. At the moment the watermelon was opened, it revealed the red flesh inside. Meng Yao couldn't resist taking a few bites. It really was sweet and delicious. It seemed that today's batch of watermelons had indeed been chosen correctly. The refreshing and tasty watermelon made Meng Yao's tired body regain energy again. In this hot summer, the watermelon quickly replenished the energy Meng Yao needed. As his body gradually recovered, Meng Yao decided to pick another 2 baskets of watermelons until the whole tricycle compartment was filled. Gentle and kind, harmonious and friendly Meng Yao had rich sales experience and built good relationships in this area. No matter what products he sold, they were always well liked by people. As each watermelon was carefully placed at the back of the cart by Meng Yao, he also finished the day's watermelon picking. So then, could Meng Yao really sell all these watermelons, sell them out, and make money? With 7 or 8 years of driving experience, Meng Yao drove his somewhat old and worn tricycle, heading for the market. The engine roared loudly. The vehicle moved forward on the bumpy road. The cart turned onto a village asphalt road, finally leaving behind the rugged mountain path. The tricycle sped quickly through the village. Meng Yao, driving his tricycle full of watermelons, was filled with joy and full of hope as he headed for the market. Unlike usual, today there were relatively few people in the market. Meng Yao had arrived a bit early, but this did not affect his upcoming sales. He stopped the tricycle, lowered the tricycle's sideboard, and fixed it with an iron chain, making the board flat. This made it easier to display the watermelons, and also more convenient for others to choose. Just as the watermelons were arranged, a woman came who wanted to buy some. She looked like an expert at choosing watermelons. She still doubted whether Meng Yao's watermelons were sweet, and had her suspicions. As for this, Meng Yao was already used to it. He quickly took one watermelon and cut it in half, revealing its red flesh. At first glance, it was refreshing and sweet. The woman's doubts disappeared. She bought two better ones, because at home there were many children waiting to eat watermelon. To make the children happy, she spent a little money to buy two watermelons. That could also provide nutrition for them. It seemed like a good choice. At the market entrance, Meng Yao's tricycle selling watermelons was especially eye-catching. Even though there were fewer people, it easily attracted others to buy. Customers looked at each oval-shaped watermelon. They seemed especially excited because this summer, they hadn't yet tasted watermelon, especially the aunties who love shopping. They didn't hesitate to buy a few. As more and more people came, they surrounded the tricycle. Meng Yao showed a relieved smile, busy but joyful, while helping customers weigh the watermelons from time to time. He also introduced them to others. People often say women's money is easier to earn. That saying is not wrong at all. Around the watermelons were mostly middle-aged women. They looked at this watermelon, picked up that one, constantly discussing which watermelon was better. Occasional laughter rang out. Women selecting watermelons are not like men. Men just grab one if it looks good on the outside. For men, it's simple. But women observe watermelons more carefully, looking at the appearance, whether it was deformed or unripe. These experienced women were full of wisdom and life skills when selecting watermelons. Look at this woman holding a baby. The child in her arms was full of longing for watermelon. Even as a baby, he already knew it was edible. It seemed the habit of eating watermelon from childhood started right then. And the woman wearing a hat nearby bought 6 or 7 at once, as if afraid they'd be gone. If Meng Yao met such customers every day, he would never have to worry about selling his goods. Meanwhile, the others around were not idle, knocking on one watermelon, looking at another, each picking the watermelon they thought best, only then buying. While Meng Yao's heart blossomed with joy, busy weighing watermelons, while also taking and giving change, thinking that watermelons were selling so well. He figured he should bring another load tomorrow. Each batch of customers leaving after buying were gods who brought profit to Meng Yao. Time kept passing by, and people around Meng Yao still came in an endless stream, seeing Meng Yao greet customers with a smile. One couldn't help but sigh. It seems that when a person is sweet-looking and kind, with a gentle and kind smile, harmonious and approachable, they are truly welcomed by customers. Besides, in the market, no one else sold. So for Meng Yao, watermelons were an exclusive business. It would be hard not to do well. By this time, Meng Yao had already been busy for more than an hour, without even having time to drink water or wipe off sweat. Of course, with money coming in, everything was filled with happiness. All feelings of tiredness were forgotten. Whether driving by or walking, or people nearby, they all gathered to see the watermelons Meng Yao was selling. When they saw the red flesh inside the displayed melons, they couldn't resist buying 1 or 2. Maybe this was human nature. from watching the lively scene to making a purchase, and in this hot summer, eating a few slices of watermelon, for many people, was truly an enjoyable pleasure. At this moment, a handsome young man came. Whether he pitied pretty Ming Yao, selling watermelons alone wasn't easy, or he really liked eating watermelon. After talking with Ming Yao for a while, he hoped Ming Yao would give a 20% discount and sell all the watermelons to him. Ming Yao cheerfully agreed. After all, most of the watermelons were already sold. Earning a little less and selling them all in one go was also a good choice. Moreover, at home the free-range chickens, cows and ducks, and pigs were waiting for Ming Yao to return and feed them. The handsome young man bought quite a lot of watermelons. They were heavy to carry, enough for his whole family to eat for some time. After weighing and paying, Ming Yao finally completed a busy day. The bag used to hold money was now already bulging. No doubt, today's living would certainly be good. After tidying up the tricycle's back compartment that carried the watermelons, it was time to hurry back home. There were still many things at home waiting for Ming Yao to do. Ming Yao skillfully shifted into reverse gear and backed up a short distance, then adjusted the gear and drove onto the road. A hard and tiring day also brought quite a hardest. For the sake of life, Ming Yao kept struggling, not daring to show the slightest weakness. Whether when returning home or tomorrow, there would still be more things waiting for him to do.